hard talk. Press and join our viewer panel. Visit bbcworld.com.
Travel industry news and the latest deals and destinations for business or for pleasure. Now on BBC World, Fast Track.
Hello and welcome to Fast Track, your regular weekly guide to what's making news in the world of travel. I'm Actor Khan. Coming up this week.
When
When it comes to tourism, is any publicity good publicity?
This is my house. Entry, please.
We step back in time in Scotland and go on the trail of the wolf on the outskirts of the Eternal City. A new film hit cinemas this month. It's called Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit.
President Nursultan Nazarbayev's government launched an onslaught on Borat as soon as they were first alerted to his antics. It banned the Borat website from using an official Kazakh domain, threatened to sue him, and on a state visit to the White House allegedly brought it up with the American president. But experts in the brand...
That's this week's travel news. Well, stay with us here on Fast Track because coming up, we follow a trail of wolves in the heart of the Italian countryside. They are in fact the city's national symbol, a kind of patron saint if you like, and if you believe legend, wolves are supposed to have brought up the founders of Rome. Well, the days of ancient Rome and when wolves used to roam freely and wild are now long over. But in the National Park of Abruzzo, not far from Rome, things are changing.
Daybreak over one of Italy's largest national parks. Spanning the regions of Abruzzo, Lazio and Molise, its 50,000 hectares was set aside over 80 years ago as a haven for endangered species. For centuries, the economy here revolved around agriculture, but today it's tourism which supports the locals and the descendants of the shepherds who once hunted the wolves here almost to extinction, who now give tourists the opportunity to experience a unique encounter. PASETTA is a self-styled wolf whisperer, a man who grew up in the national park. His grandfather was the last lupero here, a shepherd authorized to kill wolves that threaten flocks. Now PASETTA uses the skills passed down through the generations to protect and preserve rather than hunt.
I love wolves. Why? Because wolves today is a solution for making a living. But 150 years ago, the wolves, they were something very bad. It's very dangerous.
Using his grandfather's favorite, but somewhat unusual method to send out a call of the wild that only the wolves can understand.
He took away the shoes from his foot and he started to go, to make the hululato, Oh, oh. When he was professor, I am a little student.
Despite the success of the park's wolf program and the work of people like PASETTA, the wolf remains a very elusive creature. They're mainly nocturnal, so they're hard to spot. But that doesn't deter all the visitors who stream into the park every year on guided tours, keen to learn more about this mythical animal.
Ogni animale che cammina nel parco lasciando le tracce si può distinguere, un po' più grande. Poi
Il lupo
davanti-
non è pericoloso. Il lupo,
Wolves aren't dangerous. That's a myth.
questa è una vecchia storia,
Today we've
insomma,
managed
poi
to change
noi siamo
this image
riusciti
in a
anche
positive way.
a cambiare
Yes, they are
nel verso
carnivores at the
giusto,
top of the
perché,
food chain, but wolves are now
oggi
seen
il
as
lupo
symbolic
può
and
essere
important
considerato
because they play a
un
necessary
animale
part in the
simbolo, un
ecology and
animale
environment of the park.
importante.
In fact, the wolf is one of the main selling points here, and it's contributed to the park's estimated revenue of around 200 million euros every year.
Well, they're dangerous, but they've got this, you know, attraction for it's like how they live and then how they, you know, their lives. I am that curious of these things.
In the 1970s, a law was introduced banning hunting, and with it came conservation and research, all documented in another of the park's attractions, the Wolf Museum. The tour operators and guides don't guarantee you'll actually see or hear a wolf during your visit. Some are lucky and some are not. But what they do say is that after seeing where the wolves have made their home, you'll understand why for some, the call of the wild is just too strong to resist.
I left New York. I was 7.5 years in New York. I left the big city. The people, they call me crazy because you go and leave the big city and you go back to the little town. I can tell you many, many things, but what I feel really inside, it's like something you can describe. You know, it's only happiness. That's all what can I say.
Well, sadly, that's all we have time for in this edition of the programme. But don't forget to tune in next week because we'll be discovering how South Africa is gearing up to host the World Cup. So, plenty of food for thought there. So I hope you can join us next week here on the programme. And don't forget that if there's anything you've seen in this week's show that you'd like to write to us about, the email address, as always, is fasttracktravel@bbc.co.uk. So until next time, for me, Actor Khan, and the rest of the team, goodbye and thanks for watching.
Go behind the headlines.